Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Tainted Grail. Before heading out, I'm going to reach deep into my stash, from which I shall produce the duelist's trousers, because they synergize with the gloves much better than the boots do. I believe I have some items to sell off. Some duplicate items. And then I think I'd better get out there and get adventuring. There has been a new patch today, and I've noticed a bit of a performance dip since the new patch. Hopefully it won't be much of an issue. Normally it would take a certain amount of time for things to finish all sort of loading in after loading up the game, loading a save. Now it takes a little bit longer. Right. We have no leather to make. What am I doing here? I am wanting to sell off these items, of course. Right then. And while I'd like to take a level of practicality, strength seems like the most important ability score to increase next. Now, these are secondary from some kind of evil, treacherous villains I've encountered. Excellent. I think I want to go and tangle with the Sons of Morrigan this time. I'm not sure that's entirely wise, but it'll be an experience. Additionally, someone kindly pointed out that there was an extra node of meteoric iron in the good druid's tomb. I might pop back sometime soon and try and claim that. However, to do that would take about half the day, and we'd be coming all the way back here to upgrade our things. So I think it would be nicer to just dip in en route, as it were, rather than make it the main focus of an excursion. Let's cut through the graveyard, because I'm pretty sure we cleared out the western side of it. I was going to say left-hand side, but the N finally appeared on the compass at the top. And are we looking at a... I don't think we are. I believe it'll be a while before another Grindillo appears. Don't mind us, skeletons, we're just passing through. Will we get your attention? I don't know. If we go quickly enough, we might not. Let's turn and check. What's that? I think that's a corpse eater. Right. And we have these two barrels of things on top that look like men sitting on guard. Alright. So, I have things I'd like to speak about, and I've got time to fill, but I kind of wanted to turn those things into separate videos and do a little discussion piece on them, so I'm not sure now's the time. One was about an interesting subgenre of historical role-playing games, in which all the player characters are shoehorned into a specific organisation and are all members of it. So, a good example would be the Roman Empire. There are role-playing games set in the Roman Empire in which you play people in the Roman Empire. They don't have to be Romans, but they're likely to be citizens of Rome. or maybe visiting barbarian tribes who are just there for a little while interacting with the Roman culture, right? And then there is a role-playing game called 43 AD, which is all about the Roman invasion of Britain in the year 43 AD. And you all play members of the Roman Legion. Now, you're not allowed to play Celts. You're only allowed to play members of the Roman Legion. And the idea is that it's a horror game because the Celtic land and culture is so unfamiliar to anything the Romans have encountered, except for maybe Germania. And that would only then really be the sort of landscape, not so much for people. I know I said I wouldn't come here first, but I'm doing it now anyway, apparently, because it gives me time to speak. So, in that game, you're playing, all members of one organisation. Now, you can be people from any part of the Roman Empire. You could be like conquered Germans or something who've, been, let's say, inducted into the legions. But essentially, you're all playing the same thing, right? Which can seem a bit boring and unimaginative until you go, this is the... Oh, another good example, actually, not historical, would be that 40k role-playing game in which you all play Space Marines. And you're like, oh my god, this is so boring. And you have to find ways to make individual Space Marines from different chapters interesting, even if you're playing blatant cliches, because you'll have enough different personalities and types. And I see the bridge there. We may very well take that soon when we go to fight against the bees, and try not to do a Nicolas Cage impression, because I haven't seen his version of that film. I've only seen the original one, which was apparently better on many counts. But anyway, so my point, there's also a number of role-playing games in which you play members of the Knights Templar at the time when they were betrayed by the French king, and you play the members of the Knights Templar smuggling away the sacred treasures and trying to get them through safety. Now, there's actually two such role-playing games. One is... It's not a role-playing game. It's a campaign a guy ran once, and it's his campaign notes typed up as a campaign with about 6 pages of rules at the front so that you can play it as well. And it is a rubbish campaign. It's basically a campaign for players who get bored of playing the same game and want to change every few weeks. And you literally get shifted off to another magical dimension every session or two. It starts with a medieval world, goes into a sort of, gangsters in pinstripe suits, a sort of Buffy the Vampire Slayer bit. And they're all just... And you just play the same characters going from setting to setting with very little consistency or any sort of common sense, and it's a chaotic shambles. And I would probably refuse to run it because of the part where the Knights Templar have to play prisoners in a Nazi prisoner of war camp, and they're not allowed to leave and ascend to the next level until they sympathise with the people who torture and beat and rape them every single bloody day, and say it's not their fault, they're only following orders. They're just as scared as we are, and really, we shouldn't hate them. And only when they get to that state of acceptance are they allowed to move on. It's like, okay, that's pretty disgusting. I don't think the players should be forced to think a particular way about Nazi prisoner of war camps. Oh, and the next level after that is the one where you get one of your mates to ring up, or, you get one of your mates to knock on the door or ring the doorbell to ship the players up, just as you say, okay, so you find yourself in a car park, there's a house over there, it's the door the sage, the prophet told you to go knock on the door, and as soon as one of the players says, oh, I'm going to knock on the door, ring the doorbell, you get your mate outside to do it, just to scare your players. because the guy wants you to play mind games and gaslight your players like an evil fucker, right? Because apparently that's what he is. And then you're supposed to tell the players that their characters walk into the room and they're supposed to play their characters, meeting themselves, the players, converse with themselves and each other, both in character and out of character, right? And, you know, explain to them you're not real, or you're doing really great, guys. You know, you've nearly finished the adventure, you've nearly finished the campaign, and after that, then the knights leave and they go to the final scene and the campaign ends. It's a shit show, right? Let's be honest. The only good thing about it is that it has a copy of the Code of Honor and Behaviour of the Medieval Knights Templar in the back. Not sure how accurate it is, but there's like over 200 articles in there, you know, like I remember that, you know, a knight is allowed one new shirt a year and he has to make that last, plus any previous ones he had, you know. Right, we are heading this way. Aha, that looks serious. No, it doesn't. We need to find our way in. The other one is much more open about the adventures the knights can have, and is a role-playing game, but it starts with a lot of SJW warnings, and notes that while we've presented historical events in this game, we have misrepresented a lot of some of them, and this is not entirely true, and we've done this to create a... And at this point you're like, well, in that case, why call it a historical role-playing game? And they do say they call it out when they've changed the history, right? But then they also say you're not allowed to have any religious intolerance or religious persecution in a game about religious intolerance and religious persecution. You know, this was the Catholic Church excommunicating the Knights Templar and accusing them of heresy, but you're not allowed to have any of that in the game because everyone has to be happy and friendly, and it's like, oh dear, kinda missing the point there then, you know. It might be wise to wait till dawn. Oh, it's a statue of a two-handed weapon. Locke the Madman. Where others would waver, Locke embraced the madness that led him to numerous triumphs. He loyally fought under the banner of Sewell Firstfoot. At the end of his life he met a madman's death, charging alone into enemy forces, a final brave act that brought precious time for his comrades. And we get a two-handed weapon skill upgrade. Now, so yeah, and in that game, you know, there's like a section of a book where it says, do you have to play a Christian? And it's like, you could play a character from any part of the world, provided they converted to Christianity when they joined the Knights Templar, and are now a member. But their life before that could have been different, and if you look at the pre-generated characters, only one of them is a white man. There's like 2 men, 2 women. I think only one of the 4 pre-generated characters might actually be white. The others are all like, you know, there's a Saracen, there's a Moor, there's all sorts, you know. There's a Danish man. I think the Danish man is the closest to a medieval Templar, possibly. But anyway, my point is, again, that's a game where you all play members of a organisation with very specific rules, right? So, for instance, there are pirate games where you all play pirates, right? And in most of those pirate games, you'll all play pirates from the same pirate ship. But it won't explicitly say, oh, you're all like playing this role on the ship, you're all oarsmen or whatever, or all able seamen. I said seamen. Yeah, there's like Viking games, but it doesn't say you're all raiders, right? You could be like, oh, you're a berserker, you're a hunter, you're a wise woman or something, right? You know, different roles. But when it gets to the Roman Legion, there's only so many roles you can realistically have. And at the moment, I'm following this riverbank to see if I can get to the cave around the side here without having to go through the temple. And I'm also presuming I will get to fight something in the Weird Night here. And once we get to morning... And yeah, I could just rest through the night and go straight for the brigands. But I'm rather wanting the... Okay, so that rock is a barrier to following the bank. Where? I don't see him. That should be concerning. I do. Ah, brigands. Do your worst. Now, I need to find how I can... Where? Ah, now the other thing, of course, is that if I become over-encumbered before I go to tangle with the Sons of Morrigan, that will not bode well for me. But yeah, so I'm interested in maybe doing a video on this sort of interesting subgenre of the historical RPG. And being like, should we consider this to be a separate genre with a more restricted... Because, ooh, you're very clear there. Possibly closer than usual as well. Oh, really? Having a more restrictive group role definition. I've discovered the temple, apparently. Oh, it's definitely up there. We're not getting in this way. Don't worry, little buddy. We're going back into the Weird Night soon. You'll love it. So, yeah, I'm interested in basically... I've pretty much discussed it now, really. But I'd pull out some examples and more specifics. But I'm interested in thinking, what should we call this subgenre? Does it even deserve to be a subgenre? And since we've leveled... You know what? I think we'll stick around in case we do get any more encounters. Let's see, it's what? 3 more minutes? Basically. So I also have some other... Some other interesting, topics along those lines. I'm contemplating maybe doing some lore videos. The first one that springs to mind is the Black Knight archetype. Because it's not what Monty Python fans might think. For instance, the Black Knight in Monty Python's Quest of the Holy Grail is not a Black Knight, because he has a heraldic coat of arms. And the Black Knight has none. The Black Knight wears... His heraldry is just pure black field, no emblems, no designs, no heraldic beast. It's just black on black on black, the whole thing. And the reason for that is that it is a rejection of authority. The Black Knight only respects his own authority. He believes that might makes right. even a right. So a white shield with nothing on it would represent someone who has not yet earned a coat of arms, right? So someone like a squire who maybe... A squire would probably wear his master's coat of arms, but may also operate, you know, if he goes to a tournament, wears white. For instance, there you are again. We've already had that other weird creature that came out of the mist at us. Oh, it's a wolf. Get mashed. It's a stag. So I was tempted to go through pretty much all the examples, or many of the examples of Black Knights in Arthurian legend. Where? What is attacking us? Something up there, maybe? Because it's stopped now. Oh, fuck! It's a bear! Okay. Alright, we're gonna have to get a bit serious for a moment here. Die, you bastard. Got it. Okay. Was that another invisible bear briefly? I don't know, but it was nasty. Let's take a moment here, actually, because we have a new ice spell I'd like to experiment with, the Winter Crone's Wrath. So we'll give that a go at some point in the not too distant future. But now, yeah, we might as well just level up. Hello, do that again. Alright, we do want strength, which will mess with our armor weight categories a bit, which is fine. This is like a sort of inverse. It goes down, but our weight allowance for armor goes up. And then I'm going to take... Mighty Blows is very nice, but I'm going to take Fury without fatigue for now. There we go. And that means we should now qualify for that two-handed sword. I am going to... You know what? I will. We got things to identify. Unexceptional, go for it. Oh, this could overburden us. And decent. Okay. There we go. So those are things that have been rolling around my head for a while now, right? Things that may be video quality worthy. Don't worry, I got other ideas. I've got an idea for a video called Belgium. On the screen would be the European Union flag for the entire video, and the entire video would be me reading out the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy's definition of the most offensive word in existence ever. You know the entry, right? So, funny little video, probably get a bit of offense, and I think somebody else has probably done that one by now, actually. Right, you know what? It's gonna get rough, so sure, we'll save. And this man wants us to pretend he is our prisoner.
Oh, you're finally here. But our crows are not. I don't know what could have gone wrong. Maybe I misheard. Maybe I mixed up the names of the villagers.
No, looks like they're here.
They're here, aren't they? You won't get me. Over my dead body.
That can be arranged. However, it just so happens you're too valuable for us to simply kill you.
I'm not going with you. You won't take me alive.
Calm yourself, Vidar. You know exactly what you did, and why you'll cooperate with us willingly. Well done, Hatchling, for bringing Vidar to us. Your efforts will not go unnoticed.
What's going on here?
Exactly what it looks like. We're taking Vidar. He's far too valuable to simply let him die. I'd advise against interfering.
Actually, I'm with Vidar. We came here to take you down.
Oh? Perhaps you'd like to learn just who you're risking your neck for. Vidar probably spun you some tale of being a harmless Pict, a scholar of the wyrdness, captured by cruel bandits?
Not exactly. I don't care who Vidar is. I just want to kill you. Well, hang on. So what are you implying?
So Vidar's a scourge to his own people. He's been hunting his own kin for years. He's the one driving the Picts from the region. If you support him and let him go, you may as well start hunting them yourself. The two of you can enjoy your genocidal romance together. And meanwhile, Avalon will lose the only force capable of fighting the horrors of the wyrdness. Frankly, it's quite reckless.
Is this true, Vidar?
The only ones I killed are children of Morrigan. Yes, some of them were Picts. But once you swear yourself to that wretched order, you stop being human. That's why they lured me here, don't you see? I've slain those who murdered my kin, not the other way around.
Ah, so this is the bedtime story you tell yourself so you can sleep at night. How quaint. I only kill the wicked. I only hunt the guilty. Sure. Tell me, Vidar, when did you start deciding who still counts as human? That sounds worse than anything the children of Morrigan ever did.
What do you plan to do with Vidar?
Oh, nothing terrible. Since he's been thinning out his own tribe, those best versed in the wyrdness, we'll use him as a bargaining chip. We'll hand him over to his kin and let them decide his fate. In return, we hope to gain a scholar of the wyrdness willing to work with us of his own free will. It's not a bad solution, wouldn't you agree? Believe me, we don't have to be enemies. In fact, we can help each other.
I don't believe the stories you're telling. I'm with Vidar. I stand by my word.
A pity. Then let's see if the strength in your arms matches the sharpness of your mind.
Your rodents here! You made a big...
She waits for you. Your time ends. We did well. Good to see you didn't fall for that snake's lies.
Why would they claim you killed your kin?
Because that's how the children of Morrigan operate. They'll twist the truth, manipulate whoever they must, all to further their own agenda. You saw through it. Not everyone does. Their shadowy influence can be alluring to some. It's reassuring to know there's still some decency left in Avalon. Perhaps we think alike. Time will tell.
I imagine they would have told us something equally comforting if we'd sided with them. Tell me more about the Children of Morrigan.
Have you ever heard of whispers of shadow governments, of secret orders pulling strings? There's more truth to those than most would care to admit. They don't rule openly, no. They place their people in key positions, courts, military outposts, anywhere decisions are made. Not as commanders, but as the ones whispering in their ears. The trusted right hand, the loyal servant. They scheme, they influence, they guide the hand of power. And so, their own hands remain clean.
Yeah, the Aulers, the Quartermasters. I get the picture. I sense there's more to this story.
There is. I was one of those they manipulated, and I paid the highest price. I was the head of the Hoyt family, one of the most respected among the Picts. One day, we took in a girl from another tribe. She seemed innocent, pure-hearted, or so we thought.
That was her over there, wasn't it?
In my mind, drove me to the brink of madness. My house fell into paranoia. Brother turned against brother. By the time I learned she was a crow, sent to bring ruin to my family, it was too late. That's why I know what they are, and why they must be stopped. No one should suffer as my people did.
I see. What are you going to do next?
I've made it my life's work to root them out. And I will. You've seen what they're capable of. That's why I ask, will you stand with me against the Children of Morrigan? Or at the very least, will you stay out of my way?
You know, I want the people of Avalon to be free. I think I should join your cause.
A wise choice. I have a lead on another crow spawn. Take him down, and we'll be one step closer. In the meantime, I'll keep hunting. Their reach is further than we can see, but mark my words, we'll root them out, no matter where they hide.
Where can I find this next member?
Look for Rolf, a keeper of the South.
Ooh.
Paranoid, erratic, always seeing plots where there are none. For once, he might not be wrong. I overheard something. Whispers that his brother once served as a fledgling among the Children of Morrigan. That alone would make him a target for recruitment. And knowing them, they wouldn't ask twice.
And what if he's not among the children? Wait, I don't think I can kill somebody who might be innocent.
That's a noble sentiment, and a dangerous one. The children don't recruit like a guild. They consume. Once they take you in, they don't let go. And if he's one of them, he won't hesitate to kill us when the time comes. Do what you will, but don't say I didn't warn you. Good hunting.
I see a pun there in the quest title. And you. Collateral blade. Great. There's a dead horse here someone's been flogging. Let's see if we can get into any of these huts while we're in this location. I imagine we might not be able to. Hello. What's this then? Ooh, nice. Increases health regeneration. So that's straight up health regeneration on a ring. And that reminds me, since we are wearing a cloak with such large critical hit chance increase, we don't need this. Let's get that health regeneration. It's 1 point every 5 seconds, so it's not much. So, crow's boots. Full crow's set, really. This could explain why she didn't seem to have any eyebrows, if that's a mask. Let's see, there's a bonfire there as well. Now, you see, I was thinking when he initially called out Rolf, I was thinking he might point us to his brother. Right? Nothing in there. What is that? A metal lattice behind the wood? Interesting. I imagine he'll be waiting here for my return. It's worth exploring the area. That looks like I can mine it. It looks like copper. And if we're going back to the Horns anyway, to investigate Rolf, then we can also improve our armor somewhat. Maybe even swap out a few pieces. Oh no. There we go. So I'd be interested in some of your thoughts regarding a potential, lore videos or discussion on the concept of the restricted historical RPG where all player characters are members of a organization with sort of stricter rules of operation. So like members of an army or something. I mean, it could be like, oh, you're playing members of Robin Hood's Merry Men, whatever, right? As opposed to a more open historical role-playing game which focuses on the setting. And this looks like there's a little island in the middle with... Is that what I think it is? It looks suspiciously like a sword sticking out of some kind of rock. It is marked rather conspicuously on the map. And we do have good swimming gear. So perhaps we should return here later with that. We can probably swim over there for now ourselves, but it'd be more thematic and meaningful to get fully kitted up. There's a way up here as well. And I am finding myself rather wanting to explore. What is this? Titanium. Well then, we may be needing that at some point. Presumably for things of a higher tier than meteoric. Are those statues or people? They're very still, very stationary. They look like those warped and twisted children statues with the glowing eyes, and it is headed up towards the nasties. Oh hell. More skeletal druids and another portal? A statue?
The king. Oh, the king. What has been done to him? What does it mean for us, mere humans?
Again.
The king.
Okay, so it's the same. Nimue. As a revered Bandrui, Nimue's knowledge and power guided King Arthur and his knights during the Age of Conquest. Her calm counsel shone as a beacon for the Round Table, aiding in securing the kingdom's future. Praise her memory, forever cherished. And we get magic increase. So, Nimue is the second or third Lady of the Lake. Because we know the first Lady of the Lake is the one who gives Excalibur to King Arthur. Then, a Lady of the Lake arrives at Arthur's court later on. She may be the same as the first one, or a second one, and she is murdered by Sir Balin, because he claims she orchestrated the murder of his father many years ago. And he just cuts her head off as soon as he sees her, and she is then dead. And then we have Nimue, who is the second or third Lady of the Lake. And then we have the final one at the end, who receives Excalibur when Arthur is mortally wounded, and she takes it back down into the lake. She is not Nimue. She is another one. You know, so it's Lady Nimue comes and stays at Arthur's court for quite some time, and she bewitches Merlin, leading him into an enchanted slumber. And her motivation for this is never really explained. It might be jealousy. She may be hoping to... Yes, I know in the film Excalibur they completely replaced her with Morgana Le Fay. There's a lot of... As I've said about that film before, it is simultaneously the most accurate and most completely inaccurate representation of the Arthurian legendary cycle, purely because of the sheer amount of material that it includes, both correct and otherwise. It includes more correct material than any other King Arthur film, but also includes more incorrect material than any other King Arthur film, just because it tries to include so very much of it. And what it does get right, it gets really, really right. It's just that there's quite a bit it gets wrong. On the balance, it gets more correct than incorrect. And the things you could call incorrect are mainly intentional choices made to make the sword the central character of the story. A bit like the ring was made into a character of its own in the films of The Lord of the Rings. Now, don't get me wrong, in the books it does have a will of its own, but its manipulation is less overt and more subtle. You know, it's less huge visions and more just such small, subtle guidance you don't even realise it's having any effect at all. Generally. But it's always trying to get back to its master. You know what? We could go and see her ladyship now. I believe we've finished up all the tasks. And she's had time to appreciate them. Let's see. Titanium ore. Yeah, that's probably going straight in the stash. My first target implies there may be more than one target. I wonder if there'll be a way to examine. Work is complete. Time to share it with Alyssa. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure she's had time to see it now. And to be suitably impressed, or at least form an opinion of her own about it. Actually, yeah, 27. So that was 27.4, wasn't it? Is 27.4 93% of 215? I'm not so certain. But that could be how it's working, right? The armor weight multiplier might just be a percentage of your armor, of your total weight limit that is off limits for armor. And hey, you know what? There is another trader here. But I think we would still be somewhat overburdened if we went and traded with him. I think if we go and kill the Queen Bee, then I'll feel more comfortable trading other items with him that are somewhat outside his usual stock. For now, it doesn't quite feel right. Also, if I go slow enough, the meteoric iron outside the graveyard may have replenished. But he's also right at the end of this road. Let's go sell a few things. We'll say, look, I'm sorry, but I think I really need to let some of these things go. They're burdening me down. If I go and fight the Queen for you, I'll need to be light on my feet to avoid all of her minions, her servants. And you said yourself that you feel I should take her down first and ignore the rest. I suspect that will be rather difficult. I also suspect that the Knight's armor would be far better than the Duelist's armor for that particular showdown. Then again, that's only because I've enhanced it so much that it has quite high armor ratings. The actual benefits from some parts of the Duelist kit may help more.
Good. Very not good.
Oh, what? What's happened?
Of course. Go ahead. Choose something.
My friend, I'm going to have to... I mean, it's all about the magic. I'm going to have to, I mean, some of these things, right? Ooh. It's comparing with the shield again. I don't like that. I will stash these. I mean, at +4, this would actually be the same armor rating, and it's a spang helm with an interesting face cloth, like an Aventail. Doesn't Aventail go on the back? What's the bit on the front? I can't remember. Right. The Crow's set looks rather like the Assassin's set in some regards. Oh, increases melee critical chance by 2%. That's compared to the like plus 10% critical chance we got on a cloak, that is not that impressive. Let's go see her ladyship and see if we can make it there before
Take
nightfall.
care of yourself. The Queen can appear anywhere, at any moment.
If she can teleport or something, that could be quite nasty. Or if she makes this big black cloud over the sky and goes up into it and then comes down at random, seemingly random points from it to attack us from unexpected angles. That would make much more sense if she was in some kind of cave with darkness near the ceiling or loads of cobwebs. Or lots of nests that she could go up and hide behind. Also, if she is a flying insect, we may need to rely more on ranged attacks. But hey, we are reflecting so much damage when we get hit that if we can just tough it out and make it through a fight that way, that may be to our great advantage. Let's go see our lady love and hope she's not... You know what? Let's take off the big spiky cloak because it looks evil. I should probably call it horribly gauche or something. Isn't gauche like tacky, sort of tarnished, not quite pretty and good? And I could improve that cloak, couldn't I? To increase the critical hit chance bonus. Let's go inside. I've revitalized the garden, my lady.
Ah, is there anything more romantic than a proper garden? Imagine the blossoms in spring, the scent of fresh herbs wafting through the air. I did consider hiring a gardener, but no, it's time for me to sink my fingers into the fresh soil and bring forth the fruits of my own labor, just as village women have done for centuries. It can't be too hard, can it? If the peasants can manage it. Darling, I must admit, the work you've done around the house is tremendous. Dare I say you've finally made it feel like home. And while I may have exuded cheer and enthusiasm, deep down I wasn't particularly excited about living in the South at first, you know. I simply wanted something different. But now, I suppose, it's grown on me. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to have someone to share it with.
Now, as far as I'm aware, this seems to be the end of her content. Or at least the end of what I've experienced of it. I don't know if she'll follow us to other regions, demanding we create new homes for her there. It would be interesting if she did. I do know that if we come back to her after a while, she'll say, "Oh, I've missed you," and give you a present, but I don't know if she'll do it more than once. For now, though, let's go get a good night's kip, then head off back to the Horns in the morning. We'll spend an evening and a night in her company, and thus revived, head on out. Yeah, just check that hair is still moving. Yeah, that's... I'm pretty sure the cloth is just there so they don't have to show so much of the face. They can cover it up. Feels a bit rough. So we go back to that for now. And again, yeah, it's definitely a mask. with a hole in the bridge of the nose, possibly. There we go. Right, well, we have some work to do and some walking to do. And at this point, fast travel is very tempting, but let's not. Let's go see if the ruffians north of the graveyard are back again. If they are, then it'll be pretty good chances the meteoric iron will have returned as well. Yes, they are.
Hold your ground, man.
Will you now?
It's just a flesh wound.
Right. And the shield is up once again.
I see fear in your eyes.
I see mace in your eyes, mate. Just saying. This means the corpse gobbler will have returned to the graveyard as well. I don't desperately need that copper. Excellent. You leave Quirko alone, you big bully. Get maced. There we go. And out we go again. Had to check because the music changed. We may have been under assault. Huh. Here we are. I like the way the blueness shifts across the surface of it slightly when you look into the pores and little craters. Yeah, it's iron. We can do something good with it, right? I mean, if we're going to have to do some crafting later on. Okay, you. I mean, if you're going to be like that, you get what's coming to you. And now we're over encumbered. Well, we got pretty close to the horns. So that's good enough. We'll make us some leather, do some armor upgrades, probably swap out some armor parts, and maybe the enchantment on the boots. Our armor rating will take a slight dip for a while as we continue to improve the new sections. And it would be nice to know if we can come up against, well, we can come across another nice set of light, of heavy armor. Oh, ow, ow, ow. Okay. Oh, that's better. Yeah, the other thing I fancy talking about at some point is this new subgenre that seems to have started with the South Park games and carried over to the new French game, Clair Obscur, a game for people who can't spell the word Claire or the word obscure, because it's French, and clair is French for clear, and obscure is French for pretty much obscure. So it's clear and opaque at the same time. Whatever that may mean, but it's still opaque. Anyway, so the idea of a turn-based game with an excessive amount of quick-time events outside of the whole turn sequence that mess with everything and disrespect it. Actually, Legends of Grimrock did this as well, because the reset times on characters using attacks and skills and spells was so slow that you were essentially playing a turn-based game with grid-based movement, but with real-time movement, which allowed you to move outside of the turn sequence. And not only could you utilize that movement to dodge enemy attacks by simply no longer being in the square they were attacking when the blow landed, but it was literally required to get past the ogre on level 6 and all of the later ogres and the final boss at the end of the game, which would kill you in one hit if it hit you, and you just had to keep dodging out the squares, meaning that essentially all of your skills were effectively useless, and the only thing that mattered was your ability to constantly dodge. And it's taking the idea of fairness and everyone gets their own turn and just saying, yeah, forget that. We're going to do things that let you essentially ignore the enemy hits or render them so ineffective or useless, and and change how deadly yours are and so on. But it just feels like it's trying to mash two genres together. It's sort of the action game where you have to like very twitchy fast reflexes, as opposed to the turn-based game, which is more about character abilities and capabilities, right? And it's saying, we don't like the idea of character ability and player ability being separated. We are obsessed with the fact that you, the player, have to be so good that your character can't fail, even though you are just essentially cheapening character ability to the point of worthlessness. You know what? We probably don't just get to walk up to him and murder him on the spot. We probably have to lure him away somewhere or something, or talk to people
Please,
about him. Look, I've been killing more bad guys.
Fight to the death. It must be so exciting. Go, the hunter waits.
They've removed the line about trying to get the ogre reward because I've completed the quest. Yep, that was done in the patch. For some reason they made the line stay there because so many people were having problems handing in the reward for that quest and claiming the reward. Now everyone was of course just seeing it constantly shoved in their face when they really didn't need it. Now come on, there's more leather here. There we go. And plenty of things we can make. In terms of upgrading, we have the... If I do this correctly... Boots. Trousers. Boots. Trousers. So now they're both +2. Then... we will remove this and place it in these boots here. And I'm aware I have another stamina relic, but I already have massive stamina recovery from the cloak. So, this will lower armor by 3. So the overall armor rating of these trousers is 1 point less, and 0.7 in weight less. We'd lose... so we'd essentially 2 less maximum stamina if upgraded to +4, but also a big increase in critical hit chance when stamina is below 20%. However, stamina is unlikely to be below 20% for very long when our stamina regeneration is currently 82 points per second out of the 91 points of stamina we have. So same armor rating, same maximum stamina, lighter, and with a movement speed boost when health is low. So generally an upgrade when upgraded to the same levels. And we can start swapping to the last couple of bits soon. Not sure about the sword. The health... See, 15 health after killing an enemy would be really good if there's all those swarms of... Do we have to kill them with the mace, or just have it equipped as our main weapon?
Nice to
Because if
see
we're
you.
blocking and reflecting damage, and all those swarms are hitting us, that could be quite powerful. Okay, let's go put stuff in the stash. Our armor's down about 8 points, you see. But that does mean that because our damage reflection seems to be based on the amount of damage we take, not on the total power of the blow before we deduct for armor, then having a lower armor value may be more effective for now. I think it would make much more sense if it was a percentage of the total damage, not a percentage of the damage that gets through. Because it's supposed to be based on how effective the armor is, not how effective the damage that gets through the armor is. Those go away. Those go away. These go away. These go away. I mean, that could be quite nice as well, you know. I'm thinking the Cloak of Retribution may be a very potent item to use in the future when we have different pieces of armor equipped. And now we need to decide what we're going to do about Hrolf, who may very well be a wicked man. For now, I think I'm going to end the episode here. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, and I'll look forward to seeing you all in the very next episode. I'll say goodbye for now though, and cheerio everyone. See you all soon.